Hello beautiful people, my name is Bridget and welcome back to my channel. Hope you're all having an awesome day, and today we're talking about palettes. I feel like it's been a minute since I did a dedicated palette video, and I just want to talk about eyeshadow today because I really do just love it so much. So today we're talking about older eyeshadow palettes that have been on the market for a while. You can get them on sale sometimes, or you can probably just buy them used off Mercari or Depop or something, someone just decluttering. You know, things that are older but still hold up as far as quality, color, story, presentation, everything like that. Because I feel like, you know, maybe like 2 years ago, everything was very overconsumption. You have to have everything. Let's collect all these things. And now it's not like that. But there's still things out there that are older and still bomb. So I'm going to talk about those things today because they've held up great over time. Before we get started, two quick things. So one, if we disagree on anything that's cool, just make us not that serious. Let me know an older palette in your collection that you still love to death down below, because that's just, like, I love the tried and true kind of products. And then two, I do have a small business, theopencrypt.com. Tried and true, I do everything myself, and I will leave you a handwritten note in every single order so you know that's special from me, and I appreciate your order. So thank you. Let's get started. I'm not doing these in any particular order, but, you know, I just had them sitting on my lap, and I'm just going to grab them at, you know, as I grab them. So let's start off with the two first palettes I'm going to talk about from Melt Cosmetics. First, Rust. Melt Cosmetics has hit or miss formulas. I feel like some are really good and some are garbage. This is a really good one, and so is the next one I'm going to talk about. The color scheme in here for like just a regular warm tone grungy moment is so pretty. Also because we have this peach, this yellow, and this lighter shade here. If you want a really simple everyday kind of summer, you can kind of do that too. So here's the inside color scheme. This palette quality is so good. The pigments are fantastic. I will say the shimmers are a little more loose. I prefer to put them on with my fingers so I can pack them on my lid rather than with a brush, because I feel like sometimes it's a little bit of a chunkier shimmer. You pull it with a brush, it might like a little bit of fallout, but just apply it with your finger like I do. It works out fine. This is so good. This is so good. They're still so buttery creamy, even though they're, you know, an older palette. The other one from Melts, I don't think this is going to be any surprise. It's my favorite. This is Gemini, the original Gemini. I have not tried the Gemini 2. These palettes are $58 each. That's what I'm saying. Find them on sale. Find them from a resale if you're comfortable with that. But, whew, look at this color scheme. We have neutrals. We have a little bit of yellow. And then we have a black and some greens. This color scheme, you guys, is lovely. I will say this peach shade feels a little out of place. But, I mean, Melt seems to like peach shades, and then mixed with these, it does make a good color story. But the greens and the black of this palette are the star. It's so beautiful. Like, I will say, I think I love the color story of Gemini more, but I think I've probably used, Rust more. So, they both are beautiful color stories. I prefer this color story, I prefer this palette for everyday use, but they're both so good. Those are the most expensive palettes, though. We're going to talk about cheaper ones, too. Let's talk about the one that's on my eyes today. So I have just this little simple golden honey moment, you know, just a little simple something. I just miss wearing yellow eyeshadow more often. So I broke out the Naked Honey today. This palette is half off on Ulta's site right now. I checked. This is so good. Now, for $24.50, which is the half price, originally priced $49, kind of high. $24.50, this is a fantastic palette. This is one of those palettes you reach for and you know the color story is just gonna like work for you. Every color in this palette blends together so beautifully into another. You can darken up your look. You can keep it really light. It just depends on what colors you want to reach for. Now, I do think if this packaging wasn't this brownish color, it'd be easier to see the kind of different shades here, because on some online pictures they look similar. But again, they are different shades. Some are just different versions of it. Some are more mustardy than others. Some more brown than others. And these all just blend together so beautifully. I have like 3 shades on my eye look right now. It's not very many, but it still has a different dimension. Like you have the gold on the lid, you have a little bit darker on the outer corner, and then a signature crease color, which more has that honey tone to it. It's really good. Now, I know this is not everyone's everyday color story, but for $24.50 and the quality of these shadows, it doesn't disappoint. Also, I will say for their Naked palettes, usually the packaging's kind of crap. I kind of like this like wishy honey glaze situation they have going on with it. Next up, we're talking about a Sigma palette that's been out for a while. They just released a mini version of this palette, so if you don't like all the colors in here, you could probably just check out the little mini one. But this is an older palette that I still love. This is Corda Rosa by Sigma. The packaging, super cute, super pretty. And then the color story on the inside, whew, I don't wear reds very often. Or I mean, well, I wear reds more than pinks. I wear warm tones, but not necessarily pinks. But this color story still works for me just fine. So in here we have some regular neutrals, we have some peachy tones, we have some darker tones, some berry, and we have little bits of gold and this terracotta kind of color. This is the shade in the palette that I think is the best. It is the Corderosa signature namesake shade. It also has a flower in there so you can identify easier. So good. So good. It's a slightly warm kind of crease transition color. You can also take this in your crease, make it more pink with anything on the lid. You can make it more golden and more neutral. It just works so well. I think the berry tones in here are really pretty. They kind of pop too, like these kind of rich berry tones, really pretty. But you don't have to go super bold with this palette, even though there are so many deeper colors you can choose from. Formula-wise, it's one of their best, and I really enjoy this one. And I have been using the mini one too lately, just because it's super easy to use. And also the Corderosa like signature shade, like I said, that's very good. Super creamy, very easy to use and blend out. But not creamy in the weird Natasha Denona way, but like creamy in like a, ooh, this is so easy way. Next up, I feel like if I didn't talk about older palettes and bring this palette up, I would be lost in the world, because I've used this palette a ton. Tarte and Bloom. First of all, Tarte palettes smell delicious. I don't like vanilla scents typically. I know they say their palettes are scented like vanilla. I really love the way a Tarte palette smells. It's just very satisfying. But here is the Tarte and Bloom packaging, colorful, neutral inside. It is a very simple color story, but I've used this thing to death, you guys. I'm surprised I haven't hit pan on it. I'm kind of close to it on this shade, and no, this shade, and this shade. I'm kind of close to hitting pan on them, honestly. I haven't used it in a little bit, but as far as like older palettes that I know I can go to and trust for quality, she's that girl. And again, really easy color story. You don't have to think about it. I don't want to have to like, what's my complex eyeshadow look for the day every day? That's not me. I just want things that are tried and true. Speaking of tried and true, I feel like Tarte and Bloom and this next one are kind of palettes that I've talked about forever, and they're just so good. Now this one's more of a grayish, like a gray purplish kind of color scheme, and this is Flutterby by Colourpop. Affordable palette. Again, Colourpop does sales all the time. The cute little butterfly moment. I don't really wear purple eyeshadow, but I love the freaking hell out of this palette. It's so good. So here you can see the color scheme. It does lean very purple. But honestly, when you put just like some of these neutrally shades over your crease or the browns, it just looks so good. I just avoid using the purple glitter shade, and everything else in here is just so easy to work with. It gives you that gray with a little bit of purple hue to it too. It's easy to use, it's beautiful. Like, if this is one of those soft, sexy palettes. I feel like it looks sexy and sultry without being like a smoky eye, and I think it's the appeal of it for me. Next up, I had to bring out another Colourpop older palette that I love. Yes, please. This is Colourpop's first ever eyeshadow palette. Now, this palette is dirty because I've used it to death, and also when I had orange hair, these two shades would be my eyebrow color. This palette is so good. It has neutrals, it has red, kind of warm tones, a little bit of orange. The orange is kind of like a little bit of surprise in here. And this yellow shade is so bomb. You put down a little bit of concealer or an eyelid primer down, you stick this sucker up there, you pack it on real good with a blending brush or a packing brush, and you get the most beautiful, delicious, not too sunflowery, not too golden yellow. That's just like perfection, y'all. Two more palettes. Now these are more indie brands. So we have Give Me Glow Cosmetics Vintage Rose palette. This palette sells out all the time. I don't know if it's out of stock right now, but Give Me Glow has some of the best shimmers on the market. I will say Give Me Glow and Glam Light are just like shimmer heaven. This is the color scheme. Now this color scheme is not gonna be for everyone, but let's look at it as far as versatility. You can do a deep berry tone situation. You can do a pink with a little bit of a rose on the lid. You can also do the green, or you could just mix like a very pastel moment here. Or again, I still think you can make a really cool look out of these two shades. It might look a little Christmassy with the berry red and the green tone, but still beautiful. The shimmers in here are so pretty, and I just think this color scheme is cute and different. I sped past that one because someone was climbing my chair. Say hi, Po Baby. He's a good Po Baby. He needs to go to the vet next weekend, and then he'll probably be all better with him sickness and him wormies. He's a spoiled little thing though, isn't he? Look how cute. He's so comfortable. Lastly, I wanted to make one that was more colorful. I feel like the Vintage Rose was colorful, but again, very signature looks. This one gives you so many possibilities, and quality-wise, it's really good. I wouldn't pay full price for it again, even though I did the first time, but they have 30% off sales on Jeffree Star's site sometimes, and 30% off of this palette is a good deal because the quality is really there. Jawbreaker. I was talking about cremated, but cremated, you make the very similar looks out of it all the time because there's just grays and blacks. Jawbreaker is that colorful moment. Yes, you can get rainbow palettes from Glamlight, but I feel like these are more unique. Like the Seafoam here is a little bit more unique. Like this green is a little more unique. This is just a very good rainbow color story without being predictable, staple red, staple blue, and just 2 different shades of green, 2 different shades of blue. This one has a little bit more variety in there. I really like the pastel purple shade next to this green. That just gives me all the feels like a My Little Pony fantasy. I did do several looks on my channel with this palette when it first came out to show you the versatility, and I just think this quality is really good. The shimmers in here are lovely. I will say this Cotton Candy pink shimmery moment, super soft. These shimmers are super, super soft and easy to use. Again, probably best to apply with a finger because if you don't, when it's super soft, it gets a little bit of crumbles and fall out under your eye like I said earlier. But like this palette color scheme is that girl. Like it's one of those things, like I said earlier, I don't want to have to think every day about what complex kind of look I'm using on my eyes. A staple palette for me works out most of the time, but once in a while you want to do something a little bit different, and it's good to have one signature palette that has those weird colors you don't usually reach for. Anyways, you guys, thank you so much for watching today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. I know I did. I know my videos this week have been a little bit shorter. I've been trying to keep them to the 20 minutes or more. However, I'm working on 2 home project flip the crypt videos right now that make my time consumption a little all over the place. So thank you guys so much for watching today's video. Hopefully you understand the shorter videos this week, but I will see you in the next video, and have a lovely day. Like truly, have a lovely day. Like today might not seem like your day, but it could be. It could be. Buy a lottery ticket, and if you win over $1,000, send me 5. Anyways, bye guys. Have a good one.